There comes a moment in life that changes everything. Not when money arrives, not when success shows up, not when people finally clap for you, but when something quieter happens. You stop explaining yourself, not out of anger, not out of ego, not out of any anxiousness, but out of clarity. That moment is dangerous because it ends a version of you the world was comfortable with. Most people don't even realize how much energy is wasted trying to be understood. Explaining choices, explaining silence, explaining growth, explaining distance, explaining decisions that feel obvious internally but confusing externally. And every explanation carries a hidden message. Please validate me. That's the trap. Because the moment life senses you need validation, it keeps you dependent. Here's the uncomfortable truth: people don't misunderstand you by accident. They misunderstand you because they are viewing you from a version of you that no longer exists. And instead of updating their perception, they expect you to shrink back into something familiar. That's why explanations never work. You are speaking from the future, they are listening from the past. There is a reason explaining yourself feels exhausting. It's because deep down you know something: the people who truly see you don't need explanations. And the people who demand explanations were never going to understand anyway. At some point, growth becomes quiet. Not loud, not announced, not debated, quiet. You start moving differently, responding less, choosing selectively, protecting energy instead of spending it on defense. And suddenly people feel uncomfortable. They sense the shift before they understand it, so they ask questions not because they are curious but because they feel loss of control. Questions like, why are you so different now? Why don't you talk like before? Why are you so distant? What happened to you? Those questions are not about you. They are about access. Access they once had. Access that no longer feels guaranteed. This is where most people fail themselves. They start explaining again. They reopen doors they meant to close. They justify boundaries they were allowed to have. They dilute growth to keep others comfortable. And the moment they do, life pauses again. Because growth requires firmness. Here's something rarely said out loud: your next level requires you to be misunderstood by people who benefited from the old you. That's not cruelty, that's evolution. There is a deep spiritual law here. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop negotiating your identity. And when you stop negotiating your identity, life starts responding faster. Opportunities sharpen, distractions fall away, energy consolidates. You stop leaking power. This is why people who are truly powerful speak less. They don't convince, they don't chase agreements, they don't defend clarity. They move, and movement explains everything that words never could. If this part is resonating uncomfortably, good. That discomfort is recognition, because deep down you are already known that where you have been over explaining. You know where you have been shrinking your truth to avoid friction, and you know it's costing you. We are not even at the core yet. There is a phase no one prepares you for. It begins the moment you stop explaining yourself. At first, it feels wrong, the silence feels heavy, the restraint feels unnatural, the urge to clarify, correct, justify, it rises because for years your safety came from being understood, and now you're removing that safety net. Here's what actually happens when you stop explaining. People don't suddenly understand you, they test you. They push you, they poke you, they provoke your reactions. Not consciously, instinctively. Because when someone stops explaining, it triggers something primal, uncertainty, and uncertainty makes people uncomfortable. This is why, right after you grow quieter, you will notice reactions intensify, more assumptions, more projections, more subtle disrespect, masked as curiosity. Questions will sound innocent but carry tension. So, what's going on with you lately? You have changed, haven't you? Why are you acting like this now? These are not requests for clarity, they are attempts to restore the old dynamic. Understand, I want you to deeply understand these. And this is a very common thing which happens in everyone's life. You must have faced these questions in your different phases of life. These are traps, my friends. These are traps. I want you to understand. You need to be very spiritual first because you are soul and you have to act like a soul. You are not body. Always think, keep in mind that you are soul and whatever you are doing, seeing, whatever you are going through in your life is from the aspect of soul, not the aspect of body. Because when you think that this work is done by the body, or you will start seeing every doing in a body aspect, then it won't matter anything. They are attempts to restore the old dynamic, as I said. Here's the mistake most people make. They answer, they over answer, they reveal things still forming internally, and the moment they do, their power leaks out again. Because explaining is a form of surrender. It says, I will make myself smaller so you feel comfortable again. And growth does not survive comfort. Silence, when chosen consciously, is not weakness. It is self-trust made visible. It tells the subconscious mind, I don't need permission to exist as I am. That message is powerful because your subconscious is always listening. Here's something critical. The subconscious mind does not respond to affirmations. It responds to behavior, and nothing rewires identity faster than consistent, calm, unreactive silence. Each time you choose not to explain, your subconscious updates its belief. I am safe without validation. That belief changes everything. This is why life responds differently afterwards. People treat you with more caution, opportunities arrive cleaner, distractions fall away naturally, not because you demanded respect, but because you stopped proving worth. There is also a financial angle no one connects. Money flows towards decisiveness. Not rush, not noise, decisiveness. And decisiveness comes from inner authority. When you stop explaining yourself, your decisions become firmer. You spend less energy doubting, you hesitate less, and you act with fewer emotional fluctuations. That stability is magnetic. You may notice something uncomfortable next. Some people disappear, not dramatically, quietly. Conversations fade, access reduces, relevance shifts. This is not loss, this is alignment correcting itself. Because relationship builds on access to your old self cannot survive your new boundaries. Another truth. People who truly matter don't ask for explanations. They observe, they adjust, they respect movement without commentary. And those people always appear after you stop justifying your evolution. There is a spiritual law at work here. Life mirrors self-trust. The more you trust yourself without explanation, the more life trusts you with outcomes. But this requires restraint when misunderstood, restraint with misrepresented, restraint when silence feels risky. This is the final test. Can you remain calm while others narrate stories about you? Can you stay grounded without rushing to correct them? Because once you pass this test, something shifts permanently. You stop reacting, and reactions is the last chain. You realize something liberating. People will think what they want anyway. No amount of explanation ever prevented misunderstanding, so why sacrifice energy trying? Clarity doesn't come from talking, it comes from consistency. At this stage, your presence changes. You don't enter room the same way. You don't respond immediately. You don't chase agreements. You observe, and observation is power. Let this land slowly. The moment you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim time, energy, and identity. And life responds to reclaimed identity faster than any affirmations. There is a claim that arrives once you stop explaining yourself. Not relief, not pride. Clarity. You stop waking up rehearsing conversations. You stop anticipating reactions. You stop managing perceptions. And for the first time, your energy moves forward instead of outwards. Here's the final truth. Explaining yourself was never about being understood. It was about avoiding discomfort. Discomfort of being judged. Discomfort of being misunderstood. Discomfort of letting others sit with uncertainty. But uncertainty is not dangerous, avoiding it is. The moment you expect this, something important settles inside you. I don't need agreement to move. That single belief ends hesitation, and hesitation is what keeps most people stuck. Silence does not mean absence, it means decision made. It means the conversation is eternal now. It means growth has become private. It means validation is no longer required, and life respects that. You will notice the acceleration quietly. Decision become cleaner. Boundaries feel natural. Opportunities feel less chaotic. Not because you forced control, but because you stopped leaking authority. Some people will never understand you. That is not a flaw. That is confirmation that you no longer belongs to their version of you. Let them keep the old story. You moved on, and you have moved on. This is the shift from needing to be seen to being grounded enough not to care, from explaining to embodying, from noise to presence. If you remember only one thing, remember this: your life changes the moment you stop explaining yourself, not because the world changes, but because you do. And when you change internally, life has no choice but to follow. And if you understand this video completely, I want you to like, share, and subscribe so you cannot miss another manifestation and spiritual awakening video. I will see you in my next video.